Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
Hi, welcome to the greatest podcast alive. That's right. You're asking, wait, did I play the right podcast? You did. This is the best podcast around, and I'm being confident about it because I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe that this is the best podcast you've ever listened to or watched, depending on the platform in that which you're indulging right now. This episode is about confidence. Welcome to Three9Teen. We're getting confident up in this shizzle, you know? Yeah, look how hip I am, mother. Ooh, oh dear. Welcome to Three9Teen. It's episode 5. That was 10. I gestured the gesture of 10 for 5. If you're listening to this doesn't make sense to you. How are you doing? It's good not to see you. I don't mean that in a mean way, but I can't see you. I kind of want to put all of the photos of the people that I know that follow me in front of me, so I have like an idea of who I'm looking at and who I am addressing. But then that would be complicated because I feel like I don't always know who's listening and who's watching. So it's more like a vision board rather than like the actual audience that's engaging in this content. I digress. How are you? You doing well? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're feeling good about yourself. I hope you're feeling confident and strong and confused about life, because that's how you should be. Because life's fucking weird and crazy sometimes, and I don't have all the answers. This podcast has already started off with a stunning amount of truth. I'm just trying to be confident, guys. Before I get into the episode, today we are talking about confidence, so stick around. It's going to be amazing. Look at that confidence. I mean, how do you not want to engage in this podcast now, knowing and seeing how confident I obviously am about it all? You're like, whoa, he is sure of himself. I'm not. But I'm trying. I'm trying. We're all just trying. I've been doing pretty well. I've been trying to keep a more positive attitude about things these days, which I think, honestly, is definitely helping me. God, I'm getting out of the cynicism. I'm digging my way out of negativity and just trying to be a bit more loving towards myself and my family and my friends, and just trying to be a bit more mindful and present. So that's good. Oh gosh, I need to tell a story. So I was walking down this road towards one of the supermarkets, and in Victoria, it doesn't matter what it is, it's not relevant. But me and my partner Pat were walking down this road, right? And we were walking along, and we saw a street sign, and the street sign said Post Office Place, as in a street name, Post Office Place. And I died laughing because I immediately imagined like what a kind of conversation where you'd be like telling someone where you live. You're like, hey mate, where do you live these days? Oh, I live at a Post Office Place. Sorry, what, you live in a post office? No, I live at Post Office Place. No, I get that. Is that a street? No, it's a place. Wait, what? It's Post Office Place. Yeah, but what's the street name? Post Office Place. But you're very confused. Is it a place? No, it's a street. Oh, it's so funny. So ridiculous. I wish, all I want is that that conversation has happened somewhere in this world. That's all I hope for. I don't have many wishes in this world in this lifetime, but that's genuinely what I want for this world. Confusion. Hilarious confusion. What else has been going on? I've just been working away, I guess. I work at a visual effects company as a culture assistant. It's been great. I've been there since May, and great people there. Great people. Having a really good time. Honestly, the job itself is kind of just making people happy. So I do a lot of like organizing calendars and catering for foods and all that kind of stuff. And it's quite ironic because one of my first jobs I ever had was a chilled foods assistant at a supermarket in New Zealand, and I used to deal with a lot of cheeses. So I've kind of just found my career in culture. See, because of cultured foods. Yeah. The podcast might get better than this. Who knows? Oh, but I'm confident about it. And that's what today's podcast is about. I'm really excited to talk about confidence, to be honest. I've been having a lot of conversations with friends lately about confidence and the many forms that confidence does take. Because I feel like confidence is such a broad term and it's such a vague term. So it's kind of like love, where like it's just kind of, it's lost its meaning because it's just used for everything. You know, it's like, hey, I just love cheese so much. I just love mozzarella cheese. It is so delicious. What's that? Yeah, I love you too, boo. I love you too, mother, but I also really love cheese. It's like, what is the meaning of this? And I think confidence has the same dynamic, you know. Because everyone has their own kind of definition and their own brand of confidence. So, you know, that's what I want to talk about today. Also know that I'll be taking periodic sips from the old water bottle because I need to moisturize my throat hole. Otherwise, I just end up coughing and sounding like an incoherent jester. And you don't want an incoherent jester. You want a jester that's coherent. And maybe sometimes incoherent for the laughter. But then let's stop with that analogy right there. Why confidence? Why? Why confidence? Well, it's important. And it's important for so many reasons. Now, the conversations I've had with people recently, it's not just about personal confidence necessarily, but about accepting other people's brand of confidence. I tried to roll my R there, but it didn't quite work out. Brand. And accepting that people can come to their own conclusions in their own time. And just because, someone might not necessarily be loud and obnoxious and sane, titled my autobiography, it doesn't mean that they're not confident. I've often been confused for being a very confident person, but you don't know how uncomfortable I am right now, which is a lot. I'm so uncomfortable. On stage, I am just dying of nerves and anxiety. And, I want this podcast, and whenever I do anything to do with comedy, I want to entertain. I want to make you laugh. That's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this so I can talk and we can laugh together and we can just have a good time. Because if I'm not entertaining you, then throw me aside. You don't need to keep watching this stuff. If you're not entertained, I highly advise you to stop watching right now or listening right now. Because what else is this for? Unless you're expecting it to get better, which I can't promise. No, confident, Aaron, confident. That's what this episode is about. So, confidence. I do have some notes, okay? So, it's just because I want to make sure that we're covering everything. This is kind of prepared and kind of not. I'm kind of doing a bit of improv, a bit of an agenda, because there is some things about confidence that I want to make sure that we explain and break down. So, where do we want to start? I think we should start with, well, okay. New Zealanders, I don't feel like we come across very confidently. Our accent, I got a weird accent. I'm very expressive, I'm very animated. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a bit of myself right now just for the performance of this all, in order to make myself a bit more clearer and animated and entertaining. But if I was to talk a little bit like this, or my old Kiwi accent, then it's quite hard. There's little personality in there. It just always sounds like I'm trying to ask a question at the very end there, isn't it? Yeah. So if I talk a little bit like this, I just kind of, my intonation at the end just kind of goes right at the end there. You'll notice with any Kiwi accent, we're always just a little bit inquisitive at the end there. And if anyone's familiar with Flight of the Conchords, you'll be very familiar with the classic cliche sense of humour that New Zealanders kind of carry. If you're familiar with the show, it's about two small town, small country guys who try to make it big in a big city. And that is the comedy of contrast. And you can see that in any TV show or any kind of comedic premise. Quite often it's taking one thing and putting it in the exaggerated version of the other. You could have the opposite of that. You could have a really rich guy, and he's like, "Oh, look at this! Look at Rich Ryan. Oh, Rich Ryan is going to go into a poor community to go back to the basics to really find himself and really try to find the true value of what it is to be alive." And despite the music, despite the jokes of Flight of the Conchords, the whole premise of it is the hilarity of two guys from a country that not a lot of people know about in the United States. And there is this kind of confusion and there's the dysfunction that comes from it. And it's one of those things where I find the comedy is sometimes very demeaning in a certain way. Like it's because in order for that kind of comedy to work, you need a sort of inadequacy on either end. You can't have two highly, proactive or confident things operating at the same time. Otherwise, the dynamic doesn't play off each other. So I think the way that we should approach this is that I want to break down the three different types of confidence in my experience. And before I get into that, I just want to say one more thing about us Kiwis. I often find that while we're not confident, we also we don't really tell it like it is. I really favor honesty, and I like directness, and I like bluntness. But because there is this kind of small town vibe to us all, I feel like we don't really tell it like it is. We like to tell it how it's not. You'd have a conversation with a Kiwi, and you'd be like, "Hey Brian, how's the weather?" "Oh, it's not hot." "Oh. All right, well, how are you doing anyway?" "Well, I'm not bad." What? "How's your mum?" "Oh, she's not alive." Oh my God! Are you okay? These negatives are really, really confusing to track. Are you okay? Just be honest, guys. Stop talking around it. Stop saying what you're not. Like the other thing is like when people say that they're not someone. "Oh, how's your boyfriend?" "Oh, he's not Channing Tatum." Like, well, obviously not. He's not that amazing. Stop with the negatives, people. Be positive. Tell everyone who you are instead of what you're not. Don't say that, "Oh, it's not hot." Just say it's bloody cold, mate. My niblets are freezing and I'm having a bad time and I'm looking forward to the summertime. All right, tangent over. All right, let's get into confidence. To break this down, as I said, I want to explore 3 different versions of confidence. Now, this isn't scientifically checked or backed by any major theories. This has just come from my personal experience and the way that I want to break down confidence, because this is my show and that's what matters. I'm what matters. It's all about me. All right, let's get into it. All right, so the first confidence, I'm going to do some graphics. That'll be fun. All right, here we go. Okay, the first confidence is the confidence to accept yourself. That's right. Pretty key, pretty obvious. I think the confidence to accept yourself is... it's along the lines of wanting to embrace who you are and not feeling guilty for who you are and not letting others define who you are, because you're the person that knows yourself best. So embrace that, mate. Just get right on in there and just grapple and cuddle yourself and be like, oh, good on you, mate. Fucking, you've made some mistakes, but hey, look at where you are now, huh? You know? Should you have regrets? No, because you wouldn't even be able to have that insight to what you should have done without having that bad experience. So regrets are vis-a-vis pointless. I agree, Aaron. No, that's why I said it. And I think a lot of this self-acceptance and this confidence in oneself, obviously, there's a lot of factors to this. I could go on this podcast for hours talking about this sort of stuff, but you don't want to listen to all of that unless you do another time. I think this is something that I did address in a previous episode where I talked about passions and your purpose and your meaning. Finding the consistency in which you operate. You know, like finding out what has always been a common thing in your life? Like, have you, for example, for myself, I have always really loved performing. I've always really liked making people laugh. I remember doing magic shows and charging my family 50 cents to attend my magic show. And doing drama in high school and just being always wanting to be the center of attention. It has not changed. But what I want to say is find that consistency, something that you almost like a lifestyle trend, connecting the dots in which you always find yourself coming back to, and it could be anything. I mean, you could really like numbers. If in that case, you should do some accounting. You should count those numbers and count them good and count them correctly. I'm already bored even talking about accounting. God. But find your passion, find what drives you, find the consistency in your life, because that is where you're going to find the golden layer that is underneath all of this insecurity and all of this doubt and all of the layers that are built on as you grow up and as you become more of an adult. That golden layer underneath you, that's always been there. It's hidden. You've hid it from yourself and from others. So this kind of also leads into the next version of confidence, because it's all very well me just saying, hey, you better be confident over there. What are you doing not being confident? It's like telling someone who's got a broken leg to just walk it off. It's like, hey, mate, you should just get on with it. It's like, well, I could if I wanted to. Like, no. Mental health is complicated, and it needs work. It needs time. It needs care, special care. So the second version of confidence is the confidence to experiment. And this is the process in which you need to find out who you are and the passion. And this comes from, a lot of self-reflection. So if you haven't ever kept a journal before and you've ever thought about doing it, I highly encourage doing it. It's a great time. It's good to keep accountable of your mindset, because don't tell yourself that your emotions are invalid. They are valid. It just depends on the context in which they exist. So if you keep a journal and you can keep accountable of the story of your life and the story of your emotions, then you can see which emotions are valid according to whatever your internal environment is versus your external environment. So just and this is something that I've definitely I'm still coming to terms with. This whole confidence episode is sponsored by I don't do this. I try. I really am trying my best to put these steps in motion. I don't want this coming across like I have all the answers. This is almost, mainly for me. I don't know exactly who watches this in its entirety. This is just for me, and it is its own experiment in its own way. This has been a really an amazing way for me to process my thoughts, and I have always found that the best way for me to explore my ideas and my emotions is by talking. And I've got an amazing group of friends which I am very close to, and we have these really in deep conversations, which we talk about really meaningful, deep stuff, and it can get pretty heavy. It can get heavy, but stick with it. I promise it's worth it. I promise. I'm getting good at my Ron Funches impression just because I kind of already sound like him. I think my laugh is also kind of weird too. It's kind of weirdly similar. Maybe I'll do something in post-editing while I'll put his voice in my sound right next to it so you understand what's going on. Yes, that's probably not a good example. Not the point. The point is you need to experiment, to challenge yourself. The confidence for yourself comes through the confidence that you take in order to try out different things and not letting failure demoralize you. Understand that self-growth isn't an end goal. It's more of a present moment. Tomorrow is a relative term. There is no such thing as tomorrow. There's only today. So live in it. Live in today. Don't think about waiting for the moment where you think it might be right, where you get up on stage. If you've ever thought about doing stand-up comedy, I mean, I kick myself so much for being like, oh, why did I get inside my head so much that I didn't perform that stand-up comedy? Like, I know that I can tell the jokes. I know I can make people laugh, but I think because insecurity and your external environment can be so impactful to your overall mental health, it can stunt you from being willing to try out different things and to be vulnerable. This whole thing is so vulnerable. I've never just hit record and then just been okay with every freaking thought just spilling out of my head without my anxious self just wanting to get my hands on it and just show you what I want you to see, And I think this is a really important step for me. So challenge yourself, embrace the failures. The times that my comedy shows have taught me the most are from the shows that I didn't go well, that's where the things that it's not beneficial to you, where that your strengths lie in other ways. And it is kind of like, just ticking off the boxes and just seeing what works and just trying out everything you can. For example, there's this joke that I want to do on stage, but I've been really paranoid about it because I really don't know how it will go down. Mainly because I know it's going to annoy them. It's going to annoy my audience and isolate them. And I'm trying to just let that go. So in order for me to do that, because if I just sit here and just say, you be confident, you experiment, don't you worry about a single thing, and then I'm not telling you a personal example, you don't even know what I'm preaching. You might be like, well, this guy's, it's all very well, but I bet he doesn't fucking do it. Well, I've tried, and here we go. All right, this is all fluff. Carry on with it, sir. I will. Right, I want to tell a joke about beating a dead horse. Now, if you're familiar, or if you're not familiar, I'll explain it. Anyway, basically, it's a phrase in which describes when something is done and then done further unnecessarily. It's like, okay, there's no need to carry on. The horse is dead. Let's stop here. What are we doing? What are we trying to prove here? And I've often referred to, well, myself, as like the human equivalent of that phrase. Because so often I'll be telling a joke on stage, or I'll be doing like a video on the old Instagrams, and I'll like just not know how to end it, and I'll go like 20 to 30 seconds past the punchline because I'm just so insecure about stopping, and I just don't know how to end things. Even right now, I'm just rambling. So yeah, I'm the human equivalent of that. So what I want to do, and this is my part of my experiment that I want to try out, is I want the confidence to try out a joke about beating a dead horse by beating a dead horse. It's very meta. It's very meta. So in order to try this out, to explain the whole phrase of beating a dead horse, I'm going to beat it to death and potentially annoy you. Now, hold on now. Don't sign off just yet. I promise it might be okay-ish. Now, stay with me here. Don't isolate all of your audiences, Aaron. Just tell the joke. Okay, I will. Okay, all right, so. I wonder how the whole phrase came about. Because it's a very strange term, beating a dead horse. It makes me think that maybe there was a guy out in the field just minding his own business. He just looked across and just saw a guy just flogging on a horse, just fucking whacking away. Whoa, wow, whoa. Whoa, that's... I've got a lot of questions. Did he, wow, shit. Was the horse already dead? Did he do it? Like, well, maybe he just found it. Maybe he just came across the dead horse and he just kept going on it. It's like, that seems unnecessary. Like, he didn't even do the deed. But if he did do it, then you've already done enough. Why are you doing it more? This seems unnecessary. And, did he do it with his fists? I mean, that's pretty savage, isn't it? Just having at it. I mean, you can't just punch an alive horse to death. It would just run away. It wouldn't work unless you were, like, riding on top of the horse and you were punting it from above with your fists. Oh, no. Oh, no. My video stopped recording. I need a better camera because this has happened quite a lot. Hold on, everyone. I'll be right back. In order to entertain you until I turn my camera back on, I'm going to sing a song. Here we go. La da da da, la da da da, la da la 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 la. La la la, sluggin' diggin' lation, sluggin' dear. Oh, man, it's on and on and on, really on me strong. Or maybe he was like a beater, seamless. Or maybe he was a beater from Quidditch, you know, like from Harry Potter. You know, the beaters that like do the bludgers in the game, the ones that like fly around and hit you in the noggin. Maybe that because it's beating a dead horse, maybe he was using like a beater, like a bat to hurt the horse, to beat it to death. Or maybe, you know, he could have been doing that. Maybe he was just tenderizing the meat. You know, he was... I could like almost already hear people just quitting out of this podcast, and it's so satisfying. It's mainly terrifying and upsetting. How else can I isolate people? Like, where did this horse come from? You know? Does he have a family? Do you get get the idea. All right, I'll stop there. All right, but you get the idea. It's very meta. It's very experimental. I don't know if it'll get the laughs. I know it will get the uncomfortability and probably confusion and just general disruption and hatred. But that's what I want in my comedy. I want to isolate people, make people happy with weird thoughts, and then also walk out. Oh, man. Anyway, so the point of what I want to say with that example is that I'm going to do that joke. You know what? I am going to definitely do that joke. And it's something that I know I need to do because otherwise I'll be wondering why, what if I did do that? Maybe I have come across something that, something about my personality or something the way that I carry myself in which I can utilize for my craft and for how I want to express myself. So find the challenges in your life and embrace the failures. The failures are how you're going to know how to move forward. Just recognize that it is going to be difficult to try out things that if you're not, originally comfortable with yourself. Remember, the first part of confidence is, the confidence to accept yourself. And then the second part is to, experiment and try build that confidence in order to accept yourself. But this leads into the final part of this confidence trio. The confidence, number 3, the confidence to confront. Now, this is a bit of a duo type version of confidence because it's not just confrontation of others, it is also a confrontation of self. Now, you're going to be going down a long road, no matter who you are. A long journey of dealing with all sorts of people. This world is a crazy big place, full of family and friends and co-workers and associates and people that you might not like. And it's fine. A lesson that bonded me and my partner Pip together very early on in our relationship is that we bonded over the fact that we were currently in this process of coming to terms with the fact that we were not going to be friends with everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it was coinciding with me coming to terms with the fact that I'm not going to make every single person laugh in a show. I'm just not. That's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. It's just not. People have different senses of humor. People have different experiences. People are so vastly different. So the fact that you define yourself and your own value according to the way that other people perceive you is inherently destructive. I think I was going to say destructive and then disruptive, so I just went disruptive. I'm going to roll with it. Disruptive. Disruptive. I don't even know how I said it now. Roll the tape back. No, don't worry. But it is a very, very dangerous path to go down if you're constantly trying to please everyone. And I know that there are some people that I have definitely confronted and been in conflict with, and I'm naturally quite an anxious person, so while I am maybe a bit more comfortable with confrontation than other people, than people that I know in my life, I also know that there is a sense of what's the word I'm going for? I guess just a sense of vulnerability and self-doubt that because you don't want to feel like you're annoying people. Confrontation is a horrible thing. It's stressful. It's very stressful. But it's also really important to keep yourself accountable to what you believe in and what you value, and also understand that other people have different values and beliefs than you. And it doesn't make it worse, it doesn't make it better, it just makes it different. And I think that's definitely something that I, in the end of in my later part of my 20s, I'm coming to terms with. And a lot of the lessons that I'm getting out of comedy is really parallel to life as well. Like I'm really learning a lot about myself and how to deal with others and how I reflect on my own life. And yeah, like there's gonna be times where you might have a confrontation with family at the dinner table. You might have differences. You might have different personalities in the same classroom or a different workplace. It's bound to happen. But if you have the confidence to speak your truth and to speak honestly, guys and girls, emotional availability. Note that one down, guys. All right, guys, get your notepads. Write down emotions are fun. All right? Write that down, bold letters. You could say, I love emotions. I'm all about emotions. All right, guys? Emotions are great. They're fun. Just be available. It's fine. We're all just a little bit and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm looking into therapy, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I know lots of people that are looking into therapy. It should be like health class or sexual education. It should be uncomfortable and it should be given to you as a child. Education. Make sure, it's sexual education, mental health, all up in your healthy mind business. Yes, that's my point. Good. But the variety of our civilization and the growth of our civilization has come from all sorts of different types of people. You need that innovation. You need that innovation of different minds coming together, a collaborative effort to push forward in all of the industries that has coexisted and brought our world together. You need all these people, but you don't need these people in your life, if that makes sense. So, be mindful, understand that sometimes you're gonna have to be a little bit professional and put things aside. I know that seems like I'm contradicting myself, but wait, what I'm trying to say is that you just need to be confident in who you are. Be confident to try out different things and to fail and admit failure and not take it too personally and allow it to move you forward. But also know the types of people who are right and wrong for you. Now, I've had a lot of people in my life over the last few years, which have come and gone, and people that I have had to confront, flatmates, friends, colleagues, all sorts of type of people. But if you speak your truth, and if you're emotionally available and you're comfortable, it is so important to just speak your mind, because otherwise you're going to be building up resentment within yourself, and that's going to come out in one form or another. It's going to condition yourself, and you're going to get all weird and bubbly. Weird, bad bubbles. You're going to have some bad bubbles up in your business, and you don't want those bad bubbles. You want to have good bubbles. So let the bubbles out. Let's go with that analogy. That's bad bubbles. You don't want bad bubbles. So find the people that are right for you. And this is not about cutting people out of your life, but for a lot of people who are working 40-hour weeks, you've only got so much time in your life. So make the most of that time and invest in the people that are going to support you, who are going to push you, who are going to question you, who are going to challenge you, who's going to make you think. Now, this is not about finding all the people that believe exactly in the same thing as you, but people who are going to be there for you, people who care about you. You don't have to agree on the same politics. You don't have to agree on everything. It's good to have a diverse community in which you learn from each other. So important. But if you feel like you are friends with an energy vampire, then get that steak and just jab it. No! Don't suck away my energy. I'll save this energy for myself. You can't just take all that energy and leave me and work through all your demons and leave me with half of your demons. I'm an emotional sponge. I don't want to take on all your demons as well. I got enough demons that I'm trying to stay positive about. I want to be fine with my demons. I don't want your demons too. So find the people. Find your community. Find your people. Find your peeps. And I guess the second part of this whole thing is not just the confrontation of others, but of yourself. And this is something that is definitely difficult to do. And this really does tie in a lot with the first and second versions of confidence. You can't just have self-acceptance and you can't just try out new things if you're not asking yourself the right questions. Now, ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? Is my job giving me the skills that I actually value? Am I growing as a person that I want to be? Am I straying away from my path? Am I straying away from my inner truth? Am I not doing the things that I actually want to do? And, there's obviously a balance of everything. Money kind of does, keep you alive. And sometimes you're going to have to balance out things, and it's hard. Balance is a really tricky thing to do and not something that I'm going to pretend like I have the answers to. These are just some things that I have been thinking about a lot lately and something that I've been connecting with a lot of people about lately. So if any of this is just helpful to listen to and just be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm not the only one getting inside my own head and demeaning my own value because of all these things. You're not alone. And it's kind of weird because I think for a really long time with my comedy and a lot of the things that I've done in the past is I kind of have this weird assumption that people just already have the answers of what I'm finding out, in real time. Like, oh, I'm finding out this thing about life and about myself. Everyone else must already have these answers by now. God, I'm late to the party. But that's not the case. So many times I'll be in a conversation just assuming that they have these answers that I'm kind of saying out loud to them pretty much for myself, because it's like, quite often you can be in a conversation and you be talking about ideas and you're learning about things as you're saying them. And there's been so many times lately where I've been saying something thinking like I've just reached that conclusion and someone else hasn't. You don't know where people are in their lives. You don't know what people know and what people don't know. So what we should do is we should be positive. We should get together and we should remind each other of these things. Just because someone knows something doesn't mean that it's not valuable to them. So often something has just hit me, just out of the blue, and just inspired me in a way that was just took me by surprise, and it hit me in a way that just didn't before. And it's not like I didn't know that thing before, but sometimes we just need something presented to us in a particular way, or a phrase or experience, or sometimes just all of that at once, all coexisting in a way that connects both your internal and your external worlds, that finally makes things make sense to you. So even if you feel like you are just finding out the answers now, or that that you feel not good enough, just please have comfort in the fact that everyone is just trying to figure it out too. And people might not have the same answers as you do. So have those conversations with people. Get deep, get meaningful, get emotional, and just get real, Stop all the small talk. I don't care about the weather. I really don't. I've observed it myself. I've got the app on my phone. We don't need to have a conversation about it. Tell me your dreams. Tell me about what you want to do with your life. Tell me what's the creative thing you've always wanted to work on? What is something that you've always wanted to try, but you've just not felt good enough to even give it a go? What is something that you feel like your family has told you that is not even there? It's just in your head and you're just totally projecting. Just really dig deep and question yourself. The confrontation of self is difficult, but this is where your friends are just perfect. Whether you want to get therapy, do that too. But talk to your friends, talk to your age group, talk to your family, talk to everyone. I promise you, everyone has something that they're just bursting to say. And you might just come across someone random in your life, and you might just ask them one of these weird little questions that you've been wondering to yourself, and they might just react going, "Oh, I have been thinking about that. Yeah, I know what you mean." That is comedy. Comedy isn't telling something funny, it's telling something real with a punchline. That's what comedy is. It's observations of truth. It's observations from people who have the strength and the bravery to get up and talk to people about it. I'm not saying I'm brave. I'm just saying that I'm insane and this is my own little dream. But that's my point. My point is to feel free with yourself and put your ego aside and just don't get inside your own head. You have so much to offer. So much to offer. But so does everyone else. And the best way of learning is through the people in your life, through your local community. I have grown so much from even the short amount of time at Luma. Just connecting with people, having really real conversations, and being back around a good extroverted environment, which is where I belong. I get energy off people. I kind of want a guest on this show so I can bounce off people. But I digress. I like that word. What is also another point about the third version of confidence that I do want to address is it can be dangerous doing too much self-reflection. And I know that seems weird, but while I highly encourage everyone and myself to seek therapy and to talk to people and to journal and to keep yourself accountable to your emotions and your feelings, it's also really important to know when is too deep. And what I mean by that is if you're reflecting too much into your own life and you're not giving yourself gratitude and love and care and support and giving yourself more positive affirmations and encouragement, if you're digging too much into your past, it's going to hinder your present and it's going to fuck up your future because you're not who you're not who you used to be. You're not. You're every single second of every single day, you're a different version of yourself. And that is just reality. You are different every second. You're external, you're internal, everything around you is always evolving, and so are you. So put yourself in challenging situations, surround yourself by good people, surround yourself in challenging environments where you can really push and test out your skills and see what you're good at. It's a great thing to do. Like, for example, when I was in Canada, right, I was working in a visual effects company, and I was looking to stay longer in Canada. So I was looking to apply at a different studio. So during that time, I was in a very introspective lifestyle. I was really digging into things and thinking about my life and who I am as a person and getting really, really inside my own head. And I think part of that was I was really wanting to prepare so much that when they asked me in that interview what my weaknesses were, I could nail it. I wouldn't even hesitate for a second. They'd be like, hey, what's your weaknesses? Well, I overthink things way too much. I'm a perfectionist, not in the good way, in a way where I am like way too tunnel vision and I lose track of outside things, and emotions get to me quite easily. I'm quite a sensitive person. Like, whoa, Aaron, okay, whoa, we can only write so fast. And then, after that, in the job interview, they're like, all right, that's great. It's a lot, but great. What's your greatest strengths? I'm a perfectionist in a good way. As well, I guess. I'm good at like being a pedestrian. I'm really good at getting around people. Oh, my friend Ellie is obsessed with this. She always reminds me of like the fact that I bombed a job interview by telling how bad I am, but not how good I am. I hesitated at that bit. The one moment where I should have been ready, but I was just so deep into introspective analysis that I was just so busy with trying to understand what was wrong with me, but not what's right with me. Hey, got the answers for you there. So stupid. But hey, I'm here. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I accepted my failure, and I'm better for it. Just remember, I want to leave you with this. I didn't want to spend too much time on the confidences, even though I have already. I just want you to remember to be confident and to just be patient with yourself and understand that self-growth isn't at the end of the road. It is the road. It is now. You're like, oh man, I want to be better. You are getting better right now. Right now, like now, again, like now again, and tomorrow, even though there's no such thing as tomorrow, it's just today, but in the future, today, relative. I digress. I think that's the count. 3 digresses so far. I digress again. 4! Be confident. Be yourself. Experiment. Try new things. And cut out shitty people in your life. Because life is long. And you've only got one chance at life. So why waste your time with people who aren't reciprocating this growth for you? Find the people that care about you. Find the people that actually want to see you do well, But most of all, you should be the biggest supporter of yourself. You should be the biggest fan of yourself. You should stop this like shooting yourself so no one else shoots you, this deprecating humor. Like, I do it still sometimes too. I've probably done it a few times in this episode. And it's fine. Like, if you're joking around, that's fine. But I think what too often happens is that people rely on it too much as a defense mechanism. And I can say that because that's what I did. And it's not okay. You shouldn't be doing that to yourself. You are worth more than that. Confidence pays off, all right? Yeah, I looked at my page and I know what's next now, but hey. Confidence pays off. It really does. It's important to be confident. It can work to your advantage in funny ways. I remember a few years ago, I was so confident that I convinced a group of my American friends that we didn't have onions in New Zealand. What? Onions? What are those? Amazing. No, we haven't quite got those in the old land down further yet. No. Layers, you say? They make you cry. Well, it doesn't sound like a fun time, does it? No, that sounds horrible. It's a vegetable. No, that's awful. Makes you cry. I don't want that. We were in, I'll tell you the story. So we were in the drive-through to In-N-Out in California, and I was with a bunch of friends in the backseat. And you know how, if you're not familiar, In-N-Out is a burger chain in California, and people, like attendants, kind of stand outside in the drive-through as you're going through, and they take your order. It's super great. It's amazing. You get your order done early. And they came up to our window, and they were like, order please. And then a few of my American friends were like, oh yeah, I'll get the double cheeseburger, animal style, please. It's like, animal style? What's animal style? You haven't had animal style? Dude, I haven't had In-N-Out. Like, teach me the ways. They're like, oh mate, animal style is the only way to go. It's like mustard and onions, and it's the best way to have it. You know, you can put some peppers on there too. You can do all sorts of things. You can customize your burger. Like, I was like, oh wow. And they're like, do you have onions in New Zealand? And I could have, I could have said, yeah, I could have just let it slide and just carried on with our lives and you know, not make a big deal out of it. But that wouldn't be fair to myself. And I just had to snatch on it, and with such confidence and seriousness on my face, I looked at them with such intent. I was like, no, we are onions. No, don't have that. What is that? Is that good? Is that? No, we just don't have onions. No. You don't have onions? No, we don't have onions. But you know, like, we're quite late to things. You know, like you guys have movies. You know, and we get them later on. You know, we just got Jumanji, the first one. Yeah, with Robin Williams. Yeah, he's dead. Oh, we haven't got that news yet. I'm not laughing at Robin Williams' death. I love that man, and he's amazing, and a soul, a gem that lives inside of all of us. I actually think that a lot of my personality is quite influenced by Robin Williams. I loved Aladdin so much, and the genie, so good. I'm going off track again. Beating a dead horse human. But yeah, a few days after that, they still thought that we didn't have onions in New Zealand. And did I correct them? You bet your bottoms I did not. I can't let that pure joy just be so short term. They might still believe it now. They really don't know anything about New Zealand, so there is a chance that someone in America right now genuinely does not believe that New Zealand have onions. And that gives me joy. I think that's all I want to do for this episode. I think it's been a really good episode so far. I feel confident about confidence and about the way I use English. I will get better at speaking. No, positivity, Aaron. Gotcha then. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm having such a great time making these. I feel so happy, and I feel so fulfilled doing this. And it's just like, I think after getting through the initial awkwardness of doing this and just having a camera just staring at me and not having anyone else in this room, just the feedback that I have gotten from so many of you has given me such life and such energy to keep going. It's been so awesome to be having conversations with people who have genuinely taken things out of what I've been saying. And all of this is just brain vomit just all over a microphone. No, my video stopped again. Oh, I'm nearly done too. How upsetting. Don't worry, guys. I'll sing you another song. Part 2. Here we go. White bread, white bread. Gotta get me some white bread. White bread, white bread. Gotta get me some white bread. Why white? Why white? 'Cause it's delicious and nutritious, but mostly delicious. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you're happy. I hope you're doing well. And you've only got one shot at this. That's dark, but it's also true. Find your truth. Stick to it. Find your golden layer and never let that go. I love you all. Have a frickin' brilliant week. I nearly swore that, but no, Aaron, you better keep it PG. Again, beating a dead horse. Know when to quit, Aaron. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now. Bye.
It's so important to consider this question. What do I desire? Desire, 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 desire.